Hey everybody, it's Bust, and today we're going to be playing Arcane Hunter and Wild. And so in today's video, I wanted to focus in on the Corridor Sleeper. We'll talk a little bit more about the controversial nature of these early access cards a little bit later, but at the beginning of the video, I wanted to focus in on the card itself. And so to me, looking at a card like Corridor Sleeper, you have three angles of attack to make this card useful, right? It's not stat heavy enough to just be like, oh, cool, this is a nice generalist card. This we can just slap into any deck and be pretty happy with it. We need some build around aspects to this thing to make it really kind of pop off. And so to me, that's either going to be going after the one cost cards matter, it's going to be going after the beast themes, or it's going to be going after some kind of board wipe AoE kind of thing to where we put the Corridor Sleeper on the board, we play a board wipe, the sleeper doesn't get killed because it's dormant, but we do kill 4 or 5 units. That activates the sleeper, then he comes on board after the wipe happens. To me, that sounds a little magical Christmas landy. It's not high-powered enough for when it goes right. You get something good, and so that's going to bring us back to the other abilities. As far as the one-cost cards matters go, to me, the Marsh Queen is still garbage. I had no idea or desire to want to play this, and there's not a ton of beast build-arounds that we're going to find making a lot of usage out of this Corridor Sleeper, but to me, what's really going to tie it together today is going to be the K9 This is one of the one cost cards matters kind of things to where if we play the K9 on turn 2, we can hit the Corridor Sleeper as a one cost card, put it into play, and then that is a very good deal, right? We're getting 8 stats off the Sleeper, we're getting 5 stats off the K9. If my math serves me right, then that's 13 stats off of a 2-mana card, which is just a fantastically good deal. And so I'm happy enough to try to build around that and see how it goes. The next thing I would say towards that is, we're not going to hit that Corridor Sleeper off the bottom of our deck very frequently, so we do need some other reasonable cards to dredge up and hopefully get on board. So after that, we're looking towards the Vicious Slitherspear, one of the highest powered 1-drops that we get within these Hunter style of decks. And that gets me into the kind of space to where it's like, well, we have 4 good cards. That's kind of okay. If we hit like a random battle cry unit like the Trinket Tracker, it's not ideal, but a 3/4 for 2 mana isn't the worst deal. And then there's still going to be those games to where we just dredge up a spell or dredge up a King Krush to try and finish off the game to where we're still getting pretty reasonable value out of it. And so I'm happy with that angle of the deck, focusing in on the K9 to access our Corridor Sleeper, but then going onto the back door is playing this Arcane Hunter. As far as the Arcane Hunter piece goes, the way I like to describe this deck and the way it tends to play out to me, it's kind of like 50-50, right? It's not a full-on face Hunter aggro deck. It's not a full-on burn deck trying to kill off the opponent with Arcane Shots. It's one of these decks to where you're going to deal like 15, 20 damage with your units, and then you're going to deal another 10 to 15 damage with your spells, and that's going to be the big game closer. The thing that really helps you chunk down the opposing units, chunk down the opponent to where the burn spells can finish them off is going to be the Awakening Tremors. Getting these really cheap 4/1s onto the board gets us into these nice spots to where we're chunking the opponent for 8 damage in a turn, and then the burn spells really come alive. If you're not familiar with the Arcane package, what we're trying to pull off here is we have the Silvermoon Farstrider to spell damage the arcane spells in our hand. We have the legendary Halduron Brightwing to boost the spells boost the spells in our hand and our deck. And then that's what we're going to kind of tie into as far as that burn package goes, with the Arcane Shot going to face, the Ricochet Shot being a nice little AoE, the Star Power being a nice way to just get a full clear on the opposing board. And then to me, the real reason to be playing Arcane is the Eversong Portal. This is improved by spell damage. The spell damage gives you an extra links, and so if you're generating 2 or 3 4/4 rushes for 4 mana, very fantastic, very strong deal. And so that's the deck. That's what we're going to be doing battle with. Keep that in mind. We're not a full-on face aggro deck. We're kind of a value-y kind of chunk damage thing that's going to be finishing these games off with burn spells. And so let's go ahead and dive on into battle. I've made the big decision. I'm just going to stop paying to win for a little bit, as we're in that space of Legends of Runeterra to where there wasn't anything to spend your money on. It was, pretty reasonable to just buy a premium every day. If you have to spend $1 a day on it, it was kind of worth it to me. I like having the premiums and the shininess. It's kind of a cute thing to say, but I've got a lot of real money I'm going to have to spend to get a big collection in Hearthstone, and it feels like these premiums are a little bit more expensive than I would have really anticipated, and so we gotta be a little bit more wise with our dollars, if you will. So with this, the Ancient Krakenbane is one of these kind of tougher cards to where we do want to play it earlier in the game, but if we don't have the spells to activate it, having a 3/3 for 3 isn't a very good deal. So we do have the coin, which is going to make me be a little bit more interested in hanging onto these Krakenbane since we do have the free spell in hand, and then we only need to get 2 spells to activate. I'm kind of leaning towards we should only keep one of these, but we aren't that far away from activating them on like turn 4 or turn 5 because of the coin. And then if we do manage to find what are you called, Awakening Tremors, then that's going to leave us in a pretty good spot in terms of getting that unit active. So I forget what this guy does. Is that the thing that gives him the good totems? Where are you at? If your deck only has even cost cards, your starting hero power only costs 1. Okay, it's been a while, it'll take me a bit of time to get caught up with this stuff. I do remember that guy, the evens and the odd guys. See if old Justicar True Heart comes back. That's kind of fucked, dude. That's kind of fucked. Alright, well, do we want to go ahead and come out and just blow up this Flame Tongue Totem? We're going to lose out on the value of the Conjured Arrow, but I feel like we're kind of in a bind here if we leave this thing on board. So we'll go ahead and send it. So I'm going to play... There we go. It just took it a moment to update. I was like, I'm pretty certain we played 2 spells. I should only have 1 spell left. And so if we could pick up 1 more spell, then we'll be right on track to get these Krakenbanes going. And then the Trinket Tracker can be used to search up a spell. So they should be turning up in no time. Definitely a little bit behind. We're gonna need get some good things happening with these Krakenbanes. Dang. Get the big AoE spell. That's where the dang came from, right? As opponent has this board that I would very much like to just AoE down. Spending our coin kept us away from the star power, and so a bit of a bummer there, but we do at least get to start dropping these Krakenbanes down. He's going right to the face place. Whew, brutal. That is brutal. So what can we do here? I mean, I was wanting to get one of these Jumrungers on the board. Somebody's got to tell me you're pronouncing it wrong. This thing's been a Jumrunger to me for a long time. But I think that's the angle we're looking to take here. Is we can drop the Krakenbane, shoot down 1 unit, Arcane Shot down another one. That gets us at least a little bit of time. It gets us a little bit closer to activating the Sleeper. And then we'll still just drop a point of damage onto the 0 attack unit in case he attacks with it in some way. But I liked getting the Jumrungers on the board since they'd be able to strike some of this stuff down, but man, we're feeling pretty far behind at this point. Yep, that's pretty good. Pretty good. Just a little bit too slow this game. Alright, GG. Move on to the next one. On to the next one. I mean, that's tough. I'm not certain if we coined a little bit too early. In my day, back in my time, there wasn't quite as many totem cards like that, and so I thought it was going to be just a little bit of a slower approach. It's like I knew that the +2 attack thing existed because it's a bit of a relevant card in terms of twist, but that's the first time I've been up against that kind of dedicated totems deck, and had I known that, I would have focused a little bit more on maintaining the AoEs. I have to feel like if we got one AoE pulled off, that would be a fairly easy game to come out and win. All right, but we'll ship off this whole hand. Those aren't the one-cost units that we're really looking for here. Still don't understand what that hand rank means. It's showing us the mulligan guide at the beginning, and I saw the Slitherspear at rank 3. I can't imagine there's ever a world to where you don't want the Slitherspear in your opening hand. Hey, rip you, my dude. Oh, picked up the good one. Nice. So we'll go ahead and stay mana efficient. That's been one of the really nice things to me about Awakening Tremors is just you never have a turn to where you can't spend all of your mana. It's very, very useful. Alright. So I'm going for it. I'm not familiar enough with the Death Knight cards to know how bad this is. If we're just gonna run out our full board and get hit with the AoE, like I'm not familiar with what we need to know, but it feels better than what all these other cards are doing in our hand. Okay. Alright, that wasn't so bad. Ooh, the Tremors turns right back up. I think we go for it. I mean, if he had an AoE, he would have played it last turn, right? Yeah, I need an emote. These emotes are so unsatisfying. Even after being in the space of playing Battlegrounds, to where you get to kind of pick and choose the emotes like you have in Runeterra. This is like the big weak point of this game to me is the emote game is so bad. People have been saying WoW since like 2004 or something. 2014, I guess. We're on the 10-year anniversary. It's a real weak point, if you ask me. What was this thing? What did he do? Reap what you sow? I don't know what this is. Deal 3 damage to something? Whatever. Yeah, whatever. Let's be real. Yeah, whatever. Alright, so I think I'm just going to let this guy hang out for a bit. This isn't the most premier hand for spell damage, but it has the portal thing in it, which makes it good enough for me. So I'm going to just send everybody else to face. We'll keep being mana efficient with the hero power. He's going to get the trade on the 1-1 into the 4-1. That's fine. I think we'll be in okay shape after this. I'm not certain what big boys he's going to be able to respond with here, but if he's going to try and be mana efficient for the turn and use the ghoul charge, that's just quite a bit of mana to have to spend in that way. What are these things? Spend a corpse to discover a blood rune, whatever. Some kind of rush dude, sure. Interesting, he left our 4-1 on the board. Not certain why he would do that. Feels good. Send the arrows to the face, my dudes. That's what Hunter's all about, right? Just send the arrows right to the face. This is unfortunate. Don't really like seeing him hit these lifesteal units. So I think we're just gonna have to Arcane Shot this guy, right? We still just outright win the game. Where are we at? I got a cat making noises at me as well. It's 5 off of this thing. We're 1 short that way. All right. We're close. Where you at, kitty? You want to be on the internet? Oh my goodness, here it comes. Oh boy. He's losing weight. He's awful tubby, but he's losing weight. There you go. The black kitty blends in with my black shirt. You can barely see him. Poor guy. But all right, I think we're in good shape here. He needs another lifesteal unit or something. We got 5 damage off the Krakenbane that can go phase 2 with the Arcane Shot, 2 with the Steady Shot out of hand. We'll generate another one off of the Starshooter thing here. It was pretty good. Worked it. GG. GG, kitty. I got to get caught up on the Death Knight stuff. When I was, kind of contemplating switching to either Magic or Hearthstone, I did come about and just start playing some Death Knight to try and get familiar with the cards, but I really have no idea what's happening with Death Knight and what's happening with Demon Hunters, and so I think I've literally played 0 games of Demon Hunter, so it's kind of tough in that sense. All right, reasonable enough start here, I guess. Probably a hand where the Krakenbane isn't too impressive. We can pick up 1 spell off of the Trinket Tracker, but let's just hang on to it and see. Well, I guess we have the coin this game as well, so we have the coin and the Trinket Tracker. We'll be there pretty quickly. But it hasn't come up since we haven't seen too much of the Corridor Sleeper. It's one of these cards to where it's not entirely clear, because you want to play a 1-cost card on your first turn, right? But it doesn't do anything until the abilities hit. And so, why aren't you lit up? Did we mess this thing up? The next beast you summon gets 1/1. This is the next beast. Is it because he's a mech beast? There it goes. Why didn't... What the fuck? Oh, both heroes take extra damage. I knew he had the extra damage thing on, so I thought we were going to send our 1/3 into his 3/2 and get the trade. Turns out that's not the case. But no, where I was starting to go is... you typically want to play a 1-cost card on turn 1, but from where it's dormant, you don't actually want to play it until turn 2 or turn 3. And I was interested in if some of those kind of angles were going to turn up, and we just haven't had any of these games make an appearance. All right, let's figure this out, though. We'll get that Ricochet Shot in. This is still a fine hit onto the Attend E. We're going to play another spell. We're going face with the Naga, so we want to wait before that attendee comes off a board. And then I think we learned our lesson from the previous game, right? Hanging onto the coin for the star power, but I don't imagine that the priest is going to be going as wide as the previous deck. It's not like we're playing against Shaman here. So there's the sleeper. Not real excited about this stuff. What's this? After you cast a shadow spell, deal 1 to the enemy. 1 to all enemies. That's pretty good against all of our Jumruggers. I think I'm okay to just start running some of this stuff out, though. Get the Krakenbane to clear the board a little bit. We can add the 1 Jumrugger to the board. It is just going to die to the ability, but it also helps. I don't know. It's not really worthwhile in terms of activating the Corridor Sleeper, but like, how realistically is he just going to come out here and not play cards, right? That doesn't seem too likely to me. Well, he's going to make it a little more challenging to drop these spells. What's our dormant guy at? Wish this was easier to see. Where does it even fucking say? What are you at now? 4 of 7. Wow, these cards have to... Why does this have to be such a challenge? Alright, well, still not super happy with how this is going. I got to imagine we're pretty close to getting burned out, right? If he's just going to send everything to face, he's definitely going to get the damage done before we do. We'll have to see if we can't get this star power off doing something. Are we just dead? Pretty much. He can kill us with his hero power. Alright, GG. Yeah. It's another one. It feels like these games are coming down to the coin, and we're not playing our coins very well at all. Now, granted, in that game, we wouldn't have been able to cast our AoE spell anyways, right? With the way that sequenced out, he was going to hit us on turn 5. The coin would have cost an extra mana, so it wouldn't have been like we would have been able to cast it. But
Patience and a steady grip will lead us to victory.
All right, let's see how this one goes. We got some of this nonsense happening in here, right? We got our K9 and we got the Corridor Sleeper. Let's get rid of the links thing and see how this turns out. Big old Mukla turning up. It's the same deck, same guy. It's not the same guy, but no, see, this is what I was kind of talking about, right? You add the Corridor Sleeper on the first turn and it just doesn't do anything. You need to get stuff on board, and so it's like we have to add these units first, and then we'll try and play this Corridor Sleeper on like turn 3. But then we do start to miss out if he plays like a 3-1 this turn. You know, we have to just drop the Sleeper next turn to get the trades, but you know, it's just a bit of awkwardness in terms of how this unit plays itself out. So it's like if we want to be playing K9 next turn, but if we miss, then we're not able to get those bonus dormancies off of the Sleeper. Let's see what turns up. Got any more of them in here? No. But I'm kind of interested in dredging up the both, I guess, the Tremors and the Starshooter. I think probably just want the cheap spell at this point.
Got anything good? Muzzle their magic.
All right, so we got the Sleeper down. Why does this not cost less? Oh, that guy doesn't make our dredges cheaper. That makes sense. This guy's fucking annoying. This is what it's like when you're putting suppressions in the opposing hand. Alright, what was that? Secretly choose to counter either the next minion or the next spell? I don't really care which he does. Let's see what he chose. He chose spell. Alright, see if he's got that AoE weapon again. Alright, anything cool here? I don't really want to waste the star power. Let's just go ahead and get a little bit of clear on board. Oh. Let's be real. Like, the face attack is probably just good enough. The downside is he's able to just hero power off the Jumrunger. And not have to trade a unit. Like, under most circumstances, he would just be slapping a unit into it, but with the hero power, he doesn't necessarily have to. It's kind of messed up, dude. Kind of messed up. can just draw an ass load of cards if we want, right? We can drop the Farstrider to put the boost onto the Conjured Arrow. I'm kind of just more on board with just slamming though. Like, he's gonna have all of the bananas. It feels kind of decent that if he's going to be adding units, that we're going to be just like ready for the units next turn anyways, right? Kind of lame. Kind of lame, dude.
Sharp arrow, sharper aim.
Alright, let's at least draw 4 cards. Nothing wrong with drawing 4 cards. So I still stand by that. Really, I'm trying to like think how effective we want to be with this Thornmantle Musician. We'll probably run out of stuff to do quickly. Like, we do have King Krush in hand. I'm trying to think of how much that stat bonus is gonna matter. And you know, if it's turn 1, coming into turn 2, the stat bonus is a pretty big deal. Playing this Musician on turn 7 to get a +1 bonus on turn 8 isn't as much so. And so I think we're just kind of preferable to spend the hero power and just maximize the damage we get out of that. How bad is this shit gonna be? After this uses an ability, discover a legendary. Okay. Then he summons some kind of lifesteal bro. Sure. Get that nonsense out of here.
We're in our fights.
So I'll go ahead and spin the Arcane Shot. We should be able to King Krush next turn. It depends on what he does, but if he doesn't clear our board and just starts adding dumb units, then we should be able to kill with the King Krush. This is that's how you're just giving up, huh? Bringing in the bananas. All right, emote time. Somebody give me an emote out there.
We're in our fights.
Got him. GG. Let's get ourselves up to that final battle. And so, yeah, it's probably a reasonable spot to start talking about the Corridor Creeper. I don't think it's that good. Now, there's 2 angles to that kind of piece, right? Number 1 is, you know, you're coming up to the end of a competitive season, and so if you're really wanting to hit rank 1 on the ladder, and then Blizzard releases some card that you can only get out of the, like, you know, bundle for the next set, then you have to spend $50 to get that card. It's kind of a problem. And so I know that Hearthstone has kind of moved away from like that competitive scene to where there's just not a ton of it out and about and running around, but that's still like a very relevant thing, right? To where the pay to win aspect does come about and be very real, especially if the like the legendary is strong. And the legendary, we'll probably play it in one of the upcoming videos, but it does have one of those really strong type of things, like with like Enzoth, right? That's what Enzoth is what it reminds me of, in the sense that you could do like Barnes Enzoth way back in the day. It does something to where you, like, I think at Battle Cries, you draw a unit, and then all of your units on board become that unit, and so it creates that space to where there's like just real combo potential there, and there's a definite world to where that could actually be a real thing. That could be a real card. I was trying to envision ways to just summon up a bunch of King Crushes, and that was going to be our that was going to be our deck for the day. And so it does open up that kind of precedent as to where, you know, maybe these cards are just kind of in the casual space in terms of their quality. It's still a risk that, you know, they will accidentally release a meta relevant one at some point, and then you have to pay to win if you're, I don't know, trying to qualify for whatever the Pro League is or some tournament or Worlds or whatever. And so I get it. It's a bit of a struggle. I was trying to think if the LOR world would be up in arms over the existence of a card like that or a thing like that, and I don't know. Everybody was so like, well, everybody. It's tough with LOR when you say everybody was, you know, out there trying to give them money, but the things that they wanted money just didn't exist. And then it's like you see a thing like this, then I'm sure the LOR world would be like, ooh, I don't. I wanted to give you my money, but just not in that way. No. All right. Nonetheless, let's jump back into this one. Almost got our Corridor Sleeper on the board, though. Turn 4, huh? Oh, that'll activate it. Yeah, we're good now. Ready to zing him. All right, let's just go ahead and activate with the guy. We're not going to get on board too quickly with the singular Jumbrugger. I feel like the next card we're really going to be looking to play anyways is going to be the Krakenbane. So I'd like to just go ahead and start activating our arcane stuff, especially with the Conjured Arrow and the Star Power already in hand. He's going to be flooding the board here relatively quickly. Let's just take it easy here with these. I'm not like too keen on this Silvermoon Farstrider. We don't like, we have enough, I think, with the Conjured Arrow and the Star Power. We're gonna get an extra card draw off the Conjured Arrow, so I think that's enough of a deal. Can't wait till you have 7 Mystic Shots in hand before you drop the Farstrider. Alright, are we just dead? Did he do a thing that makes us just dead? Doesn't seem like it. Mukla. It's close with Mukla. I do worry. I mean, I don't know what this deck actually plays. I would assume it has some way to just kill a unit, right? And so I don't feel like the Mukla is just going to be super effective in this space. Let's just come out and summon as many worms as we can, while also using our hero power. Like, we're kind of close to getting a lethal from spells. If we get the 5 off of the Naga, the 2 off of the steady shot, and then we draw an Arcane Shot or something, the Arcane Shot deals 3 because of the dude we already played. So we could potentially get something that way. But let's see how scary it gets, how wrong we are. We didn't do anything about his little 2/1s out here, so he's kind of free to just blow up our 1 health units. And we did pick up the Arcane Shot as well, but a little too slow. Alright, enjoy the bananas, my dude.
All of Stormwind shall share my pain.
Are we dead? I feel like that's a valid question whenever this unit hits the board. It's like, alright, are we dead? He's got a couple of more turns to try and work it out. we got? I was hoping to hit the Ricochet shots to do it. Because we can't just take 7 next turn. That's not on the table. But I guess with King Krush in hand... we just gotta do what we can and then hope that he can get his attack in. Let's see where that gets us. I mean, again, like, I don't know what this deck's going to do, but I don't feel like he's going to deal 17 to himself. And then at least this way, if he doesn't have a taunt, then I think we have a decent chance of just finishing this next turn. Especially if he's does something to kill Mukla, but doesn't kill the 3/3. Like, I think we can definitely get it that way as well. Takes him to 9. Ugh. Oh, takes him to 12. Okay, less grunts. Oh, is he not going to kill our... He's not going to kill our Mukla, though. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, my dude. Are the fatigues enough? I didn't see how many he was drawing here. Yeah, that's not enough, my dude. Not enough. GG. We could pull this up, talk about it a little bit more. And so, yeah, the creeper, I don't like it. I think it sucks. You know, there may be you know, some kind of deck to where I'm missing to where it could be good. So say like take advantage for example what that Warlock was doing right there is to where he's got 2 Kobold librarians on the board, and then he plays the thing to where you kill your 2 librarians and 2 of your opposing units. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about, as to where it's like, well, maybe if you have the Corridor Sleeper on board then after you do some kind of combo like that, the board's going to be empty, and then you have the Corridor Sleeper. But like, that's just not enough payoff, right? The way I describe those kind of interactions is, how good is it when it's good compared to how bad is it when it's bad? And there are a lot of times to where this Corridor Sleeper is bad. And so my hope with it in this style of deck was to where if we draw it in our opening hand and we get to play it on turn 1, not ideal, but whatever, it's not the end of the world. Ideally, we're going to draw it and play it on turn 3. And then we can say, you know, just curve up to that point, get into some combats on turn 3, start ticking it down, and then it's been a fairly cheap mana investment at that point. And then we do ideally have the K9 coming down on turn 2, hitting that guy and just getting us all those stats really, really on the cheap. But at the end of the day, like, it just wasn't worthwhile. Again, like, the times when it's good weren't good enough, and this is just such a game to this point to where if you're getting a bunch of vanilla stats out of something, those vanilla stats need to be exceptionally strong. And like, if the Corridor Sleeper was like a 7/7, then we might be talking, but just getting a 3/5 out of this isn't enough. And so at the end of the day, not super impressed with it. Maybe someone that's more familiar with the game may have a better deck building idea with it, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's that special and spectacular. But nonetheless, good set of games. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. So if everyone enjoyed the video, hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, had a good time watching. This is Bustin'. We thank you for being here.